Okay, good morning, people in Howard Hanna Land as they join us. We're excited to have everybody here for another town hall. So we'll let everybody log on, say good morning to you, get your coffee or tea or whatever caffeinated beverage you need at this time. All right. So we're at 2:20 or so. Kate, how many did you say had pre-registered? 5?
We have over 500.
Okay, so we'll let that sort of build and get people on here this morning. So I think we've got a great timely panel as at least here in Cleveland, Ohio, the sun's out and it's seasonally higher temperatures than usual. So hopefully that means spring is here, or at least people will think that right now, and they'll list their homes. They get vaccinated and list their house. That's what we need. So.
It's beautiful in Pittsburgh too.
I know Buzz is saying it's a beautiful morning in Pittsburgh. It's always a beautiful morning in Pittsburgh, Buzz.
I'm going to just take a moment and just mention, so for the people who are using the chat, if you do want to say hi to everyone, we love that. You can actually say hi to everyone in attendance if you just change your to all panelists and attendees, because right now I think it just defaults to panelists. So if you want to say hi to everyone in Hanna Lamb, just make sure you add all attendees.
Where do I do that at?
So, and Kate, you want to, as we're rolling up here, you give the other typical standard instructions for
the protocol. So hello everyone. Hoby was just mentioning we are actually almost at a year of doing Friday town halls. Pretty wild. We've continued it. So just I'll use this as a little sales pitch. It's the second Friday of the month, and it's going to be a ton of great agent panels. So please remember, the second Friday, have your coffee with us at 10 a.m. How this will work. So there's a chat and there's a Q&A. It is being recorded. That's usually the first question. I'm sorry. It is being recorded and it will be shared after and put on the Howard Hanna YouTube channel. If you want to just comment to someone or say hi, you can use the chat. But we really prefer the Q&A. We can download that after and make FAQs and then reference that again with more common questions, or if we want to remember something that we need to complete. So please put that in the Q&A. It's easier for us to follow. And I think, Hoby, that's pretty much the end of my spiel.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So we're gonna just, let's see, we're still going up in numbers. So it's 10:04. We'll give another minute and then we'll dive into things. You think that's good, Kate? So just to let people.
Apparently Chardon office has the windows open. I'm like a freeze baby, so unless it's like 75, the sun's nice, but like, let's not go crazy over here, Chardon.
I have my windows open.
Oh, see, maybe if I'm sleeping, but it does look, we've got a lot of North Carolina people.
That's good. Well, their weather is always nice. We're up north. We're talking about whether it was really hit 60 degrees or 70 degrees yesterday in Cleveland and Charlotte. They're like, if it goes below 70, they get nervous.
Hoby, it looks like we're just about at 300 people.
Yep. All right. Well, then we're going to dive into it because we're at 10:05 and we're going to get started because I know how everybody's day gets busy, but I appreciate everybody that's participating. So a couple things before we dive into the panel. First is, hopefully everybody has seen, but we have our new Homes of Distinction magazines coming out at the end of April. So I'm putting a little plug in for a couple of different reasons. One is that we're just, for those people who are new to the company, we're doing a magazine for each state, I guess you'd say. There's a Ohio magazine. I have the one from last year that's here, or actually from 2018. So that is in front of me. Pennsylvania will have a magazine. We're doing one for across New York State, one for the Virginia marketplace, and one for the Carolinas. So really we're hitting, I think I covered it, but we're hitting all markets. One of the nice thing about the magazine is that it's printed. It's a high, for those of you who haven't seen it, it's really a high gloss level piece, really professionally done by our marketing department. Becomes a great coffee table piece. It becomes a great piece that just sort of, like a lot of marketing, especially digitally, goes away in the minute, but this happens to live a life of its own. It will also have a digital version. Not that people like to scroll through the digital, but it'll have a digital version if you want to email to someone. And then what we're going to do is the reason we do it by state is because of the inventory of property. And we realize that in most of our markets still, about 80 to 90% of our luxury sells locally. It's just like moving up. We don't have all the biggest transient areas in the world. However, what we're going to do is properties that you would deem as maybe second home properties, lakefront properties, resort properties. In each magazine, there'll be a section in the back that will be reflective of the different marketplaces. So a lot of those great lakes that are in the Carolinas, homes on Lake Norman, that might be somebody's primary home, but you think is a secondary home, something in Canandaigua Lake, something on Lake Erie. We have all these great, even places like, the Laurel Mountains in Pennsylvania and, ski resorts in Ellicottville, second homes will all be in the back section of the magazine. So it'll be a great cross section for all markets. And then we distribute the magazine direct by mail. We work with an organization to sell really to high-end net worth homes and people that are sort of collected through a direct mail piece. And then every agent, you'll get copies of these in your office. You can order copies if you want to turn them into a marketing piece for yourself, have an insert letter that comes from you to past clients and customers. So we're really excited about getting that out there and having it at the end of April. So how I would use it as a listing tool right now is I would be getting people's homes listed today, even if they say, oh, I want to wait until May, I want to wait until April, get it exclusively listed if you have to today. And then you're able to get it an entry into the magazine and use it as a reason to get your house on the market photos. So just wanted to give a plug for that as another way we can get listings in this really tight listing inventory market. So that's what we're here to talk about today is that I know that in agents, individual phone conversations I've had with agents, I've had some group meetings with agents in the last couple of weeks, talking to people after awards events. And I guess I would say congratulations to all those award winners, many of who are on this call today. That one of the things that we've been looking at is the tightness of the inventory. The company's really trying to address that in a lot of different ways. We're trying to figure out how we can give all of you more support to say for a call for action that it's time to sell. As many of you know, we kicked off a really aggressive TV campaign in all markets that is to try to drive traffic to the website and geared on, we have a buyer commercial and a seller commercial. So we're really trying to gear people to go to our site, claim their home on the buy side capability so that we can really reverse target to them. Trying to talk about, we have the buyers today, which more than just telling you how much your home is worth, that we have the best local agents and we know where the buyers are so we can sell the house quicker. So that's should be part of your listing presentation, is really addressing that. We know that companies like that one with a big Z that people like to pay a lot of money to, they have changed their business model. So they're really even on a greater degree scraping leads from top listing agents, selling them to buyers agents, which has its pros and cons. The agents, those of you who buy leads and run your business with it, I know you love it. Those of you who maybe aren't so excited about that get frustrated. But we also know in a tight market, that in a tight housing market, a tight listing market, we have to differentiate ourselves from the competition in the market today, or the challenge is that somebody has you come over, talk about how much your home is worth, and then you find out they sold it to somebody in their neighborhood or down the street where we're getting cut out of sales. We're finding that if we hurry up and put it in the model list, okay, that's great. We might have multiple offers, but how many customers, other agents, your own customers aren't being represented correctly by knowing what that data is and merchandising our product. So I had a meeting with a group of agents in Cleveland, a top group of agents in Cleveland 2 Fridays ago. Last week, I had a meeting with a similar group in Pittsburgh. Great meetings. and a lot of great insight and a lot of thought. And we started with the tightness of the listing market. And really where we went to is how are we using Howard Hanna programs and tools to really to differentiate ourselves as a company, to get more money for the client, to get more money for their home, and to sell more internal deals. I think what was shocking for the agents in Pittsburgh and Cleveland that I met with, and this is probably holds true everywhere, I'd done a report. In 2020, 85% of all of our fall throughs, the deals that you wrote that fell apart, 85% of them in Cleveland, Ohio, the ones that fell through were with agents from other real estate companies. In Pittsburgh, it was 81.5%. Now, I haven't looked at Rochester and Charlotte and Virginia Beach, and I haven't gone everywhere, and I'm getting that numbers. But agents in those rooms were not shocked, because how many of you have an agent you've never heard of before showing up with a buyer who, by the way, doesn't have a manager when the deal goes bad? The minute that the GFI plugs don't work, they're pulling their offer. And how often are you writing an offer and then it falling apart? And it was amazing when I found that it seems that the Hanna to Hanna deals stay together. Whether it's because we have more people invested involved, whether it's, I always say it's because we have the best real estate agents in America and the most professional. So you're keeping your deals together. You know, it's not fun to rewrite a contract just because your buyer is fickle. You know, you're addressing issues up front that says, let's get you pre-approved with our affiliated mortgage companies. Let's make sure that we've got everything in place. Let's make sure we can overcome your objection with the money back guarantee or a home warranty or a buy before you're getting that all up front. So it doesn't surprise me that our deals internally don't fall apart as much, because the professionalism of the nature of our agents, coupled with we have full-time managers who are there also to help you keep the deals together, talk to somebody else, a lot of other good reasons. So, but we began this dialogue and we said, okay, well, how do we keep more Hanna deals? And it led into some really interesting conversation that I was sort of surprised about, that agents were like really mixed messages. They're like, well, we're not allowed to do Hanna to Hanna deals anymore. We can't use the hot list. That's against the model list rules. We can't use Find It First. When I brought up Find It First, I said, why aren't we using it? We can't use that. It's illegal. I'll go to real estate jail because of it. I'll get fined. And I said, well, time out. I think there became a real confusion in the industry. It's one thing if your attitude is put everything on the model list and that's the best service for the seller. I could go on and say why that isn't, but that's for probably a different town hall. But I said, but even with the clear cooperation that NAR created, they put some rules in there that are universal. Rules that say you must be in the model list when you start marketing to the public. Rules that say you're allowed to market internally to your office or your company with internal tools like Hot List. You can go ahead and put something on, you can use Find It First, whether it's for one business day, as most rules say, which would give you, even if you did Find It First Fridays, which is Friday morning, put it into Find It First, and then put it in the model list on Monday. Or even if your rules were 24 hours, you could still, for 24 hours, put the information on howardhanna.com, let it go to Real Scout and all the customers that have signed up for Find It First, let it go to all your fellow Howard Hanna agents' IDX sites through howardhanna.com so their clients know, goes to home finder signups, goes to everybody internally, and then use your Facebook page, use other things to promote. And it was really interesting. And you can use the hot list. And it was amazing in 2 meetings. And I know Michelle and Kim were in the meeting in Cleveland, that people were just so confused. And the same thing happened in Pittsburgh. And it was like, well, wait a minute, don't we have to, like, what if the seller says we should put this on Zillow? And I was like, well, you put it on Zillow, but you don't have to put it on the first day. So they're selling the lead to the highest bidder. You could put that on later. Well, am I allowed to be on? The rule is once you publicly start marketing, you have 24 hours or 1 business day, whichever the MLS rules. So if you do post something on Facebook, we'll talk about that later, you can do that for 24 hours. Collect data, collect leads, collect information as the listing agent. And then within the next 24 hours, you have to put it on the MLS. Now, a gentleman, last thing I'll say about this, a gentleman named Mike Del Preti, who's sort of He's a professor at the University of Colorado. Somehow he moved to New Zealand now. He's a good friend of mine. I don't know why he's in New Zealand, but if he's out there listening. But Mike looks at the industry with a really challenging vein. He's industry, the whole real estate industry. And he did a great article, and maybe some of you saw it because we asked the regionals and managers to pass it out. But it's just his opinion. It was like his op-ed about, okay, with Zillow and Realtor.com and Trulia, how are agents going to compete when these big behemoth companies are taking data and selling leads and selling the leads from your listings? And he talked about a couple companies, one of which was a little company called Howard Hanna. And he said, they have this great program called Find It First. It should be revolutionary because he said, stop thinking like we think as realtors, think like the consumer. If a consumer is working with Michelle McQuaid as a buyer, she truly believes that because Michelle's at Howard Hanna, because of Howard Hanna's size and scope, that Michelle is going to know about the Howard Hanna inventory before if I worked with an agent from XYZ. But we as a real estate community think, oh, it has to be in the model list. And we don't realize that a lot of those agents they're part-time, they're not professional, they're not focused. They're not even responding. Or some of them have set up a business model where all they do is sit and take leads and try to close those, and they don't know the product. They don't know when Teresa Whittam lists a house in Solon, that agent could be from Columbus, a totally different city, and just be buying leads and not know anything about the house and actually do a disservice to the seller about the value or everything else. So if Teresa can market internally to let Michelle know, then Michelle can turn around. Well, long story short, Mike comes off and says, but here's the challenge with Howard Hanna. I looked at their website and only 17% of their active inventory is in Find It First, and it's all in Cleveland. And this article was written a month ago. So somehow in Cleveland, we had agents, not 100% of our agents, but agents say, hey, let's start using this. Let's start using the tools the company gives us to increase market share, to increase the customer service to our customers that we have, to bring more deals to Howard Hanna agents, and to really service the client. And when we know that there's a lot of buyers who, we all say buyers are liars, right? That there are buyers who aren't loyal to anybody. They're working with Kim Crane. They're also on Zillow. They're also on Realtor.com. They're on some site you never heard of before. They're also signed up for 3 other agent sites just in case those agents get back to them. So how do we create greater loyalty amongst our buyers? How do we protect our sellers? And I really believe it's to use the power of what Howard Hanna's developed within a technology platform. What I would love, the panel I have today is a great group of a cross section of some managers, a regional manager, and agents that are in Cleveland that are using Find It First or programs like it to drive their business. So I'm going to give a quick introduction. I'm going to go around and call on each individual just to say hello, say where you're from, the role you play within the company, and anything else you want to know that your fellow agents should know about you. So it gives a perspective of how long you've been in the business, how successful you are, whatever you want. And that way we can see that we've got an expert group of panelists. And from here, we're just going to go into let the group tell their stories of how they're using internal tools to drive their business, service their clients, and we'll handle a lot of questions that may come in. So let's go with, I'm just looking at my screen. So we've got Teresa Slowey Whittam, who is first up in my right-hand corner. Teresa.
Thank you. I am an agent for about 6 years now. I work out of the Solon office in Southeast Cleveland area. And I had used Find It First when we first rolled it out. I took a break from it. And then with this resurgence, I jumped in again with Find It First and found that I had great success and really captured a lot of my leads and kept them to myself. And we ended up in multiple offers over asking price with better terms and better price, exceeding my sellers' expectations. So I was very happy that I had success with my recent Find It First.
Oh, I want to mute. Thanks, Teresa, so much. So that's great. Next, we're going to go to Gwen Bradley. Gwen?
Hi, I'm Gwen Bradley. I manage the Chagrin Falls office. I was licensed in 2007, and I've been managing since 2016. So I'm glad to be here and connect with you guys.
Great. Thanks, Gwen. Michelle McQuaid. You're on mute, Michelle.
I got her.
Okay.
I think.
I got it. First time on Town Hall Zoom, unmute. So thanks for inviting me. And just so you know, I'm in Chagrin Falls, Howard Hanna. I've been licensed since the end of 2013. So going into like 7.5, 8th year. And yeah, what else do you want to say? Find it first. You want to talk about that now or later?
We'll talk about that later. But
All
jump
right.
in. Thanks, Michelle. Alicia Kosick.
I have been licensed since 1998. I became a manager for Howard Hanna in our Poland, Ohio location in 2006. And in 2017, I became the Northeast regional manager. So I have 10 offices that I oversee, and I'm a big, big proponent of Find It First.
Thanks, Alicia. And last but not least, we have Kim Crane.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Crane. I'm from the Howard Hanna Rocky River office. I'm on the west side of Cleveland here, and I've been licensed since 2003. So.
Great. Thanks, Kim. Okay, so we're going to jump right into it, and I'll just, Kate will participate as always with a lot of good questions and research she's put on. But really, everybody doesn't want to hear from me anymore. They want to hear from the panelists. So I'm going to go to Michelle first. And Michelle, you were one of those, as I mentioned, we had this small little focus group of agents a couple of weeks ago. Michelle was there, and we had some dialogue around Find It First, and agents who promised who hadn't been using it to start using it. And so Michelle, why don't you tell us what your thoughts are about just the Find It First tool and how that's helped your business?
Sure. So a couple of weeks ago, we had this discussion. I had to admit to Hoby, I don't use Find It First. Quite honestly, it's like one more thing that I'd have to do that I don't have time for. And, but I promised I would try it. And what I really liked about it, and Leah, I think, set this up, we called it Find It First Friday. And so you put it in the system on Friday. And by the way, it wasn't that big of a deal. Our admin did it for us. And so it didn't take me any extra work. But I'll tell you what happened is it went in on Friday. From Friday to Sunday, we got 6 leads. One of those 6, and by the way, Emily McLaughlin is on my team. So she helps with the leads, and I'm thankful to have that for her because you can't do open houses anymore, not just because of COVID, but because we do not have inventory to do open houses on Sunday. They're gone before they hit. So we gave leads to Emily. She showed it in person. I took one. And we had 5 offers on the first day in the MLS. And one of those 5 offers was from the Find It First lead. So I think it was very successful. I will do it many times over, probably just because of what Hoby said. We're not getting the leads anymore, whether it's on Zillow or just because the property's selling on day 1. So it doesn't give us that time span to gain buyers and grow our business to the next level.
That's great. So Gwen, I'm going to go to Gwen, who's a manager and actually is Michelle's manager. So Gwen, any thoughts around what Michelle said from a manager's perspective? Some of the, here's one of your top agents who wasn't using a program. We would talk about it at managers meetings. We'd have plans. Like from a manager's perspective, hearing all the different agent views, because maybe I come from my view thinking, which I was more of a listing agent, like, hey, this is great as a listing agent, but your thoughts as a manager, where there's been pain points or opportunities or other thoughts.
Sure. So it can be a little bit overwhelming to start a new program. That's just the way it is. And Find It First can be easy. So that's, I think, the biggest thing that Michelle was receptive to listening to is this is easy, and you'll be able to sell your house better for your clients. I think the biggest thing that sellers want to hear when we are meeting with them is how we're going to sell their house. No seller says to us, how are we going to get lots and lots of offers in a deal that falls apart? They all want us to sell their house. And so with Find It First, we can bring solid offers. We can have a tiered plan to be able to say, this is our plan to sell your house. And that we can start with point A, which is we're going to market it in the office. We're going to put it on Find It First. Anybody can throw a house into the MLS. That is chaos and a free-for-all. But being able to say we have a marketing plan to sell your house, that's how we're going to capture business. And if we can let them know that by using Find It First, it taps, it goes through Real Scout, and it sends an alert to all of the buyers that are registered in Real Scout, so that we know that Howard Hanna agents are getting a chance to have their clients look at the Find It First properties first. And we're able to bring buyers who are qualified. So for example, in our office, we had one of our agents is selling her own house and put it in Find It First. And the offers, she had 5 showings the first day. So she put it in on a Friday morning, like Michelle was talking about, our Find It First Fridays. Put it in on Friday morning. She had 5 showings, and one of those showings, I'm pretty sure was the first one through the door, is the one that ended up writing an offer. It was through another Howard Hanna agent, and was a, it worked. It worked. It's so far, knock on wood, every time we've done Find It First, it's worked. So we've been able to get the house under contract and sold. So having a marketing plan, I think, is what I hear the most. Every seller says, what are you going to do to sell my house? And this is a big part of it. This is different. This is something that we offer that nobody else can do, and is exactly what an agent should take into a listing appointment or a conversation on the sidewalk right now. Whatever that looks like, they want to know how we're going to help them sell their house.
So let me take that for a minute, and then I'm going to come to Teresa with the next question. Let me take that for a minute. I think that's both Michelle and Gwen tapped on something that, as a company, we try to be innovative and come out with new programs and new tools. And, one of those takeaways that I often get from agents is that for some people, it's so much. We really have a lot, and depending on how you want to run your business as an independent agent, you're looking at, okay, I'm not really going to use that tool now. I'm too busy to learn something new, like a Find It First. You even get into your head sometimes, like, how does it all integrate? And I think that the reason I wanted to talk about this today is that first, I'm going to say the integration piece of Find It First. Find It First was let me take it back on that, which was, there's always been a culture at Howard Hanna and at Allen Tate and others, sort of that Hanna to Hanna deal, that Tate to Tate deal, that, hey, I'm working with the best agents in the business, so how do I share it? Over the years, we've had everything. I mean, think about our sales meetings. One of the most valuable parts of an office sales meeting, when the Rocky River office gets together, is they sit there and they actually in their office look at on a screen, I guess when we're back to all being normalized in an office, and I don't know if they do it virtually, but Sue Hustick and Kevin Collins before her, they would, with Kim can talk about this, they would sit in the office and you'd show a picture, even though you went on tour, you'd show a picture on a screen of the new listing you just got. And sometimes those new listings weren't in the model list yet. They were going to be on broker tour that afternoon and go into the model list the next day, because the old model list rules you had 72 hours. And, agents would say, hey, I want to do a deal with another agent at Howard Hanna. They're my friend. I see them. And there were benefits to that Hanna to Hanna deal. Even the benefit we didn't think about, which was 6 months later when you went on a listing appointment and wanted to say in Solon, Ohio, where we're number 1 in market share. Every time you do a Hanna Hanna deal, that helps you later on a listing to say the consumer keeps choosing us and we have number 1 market share. So the culture of in-house sales, and by the way, every company does that. Like I love when people are like, because Howard Hanna sometimes is bigger, because sometimes Howard Hanna has more market share, whether it's in Rochester, New York, or Buffalo, sometimes the smaller competitors like to say, well, you have a monopoly on the inventory, you're not sharing. That's been going on forever. I mean, I remember in Mount Lebanon, which is an area in Pittsburgh, we have something like a 70% market share. There's been complaints against us before, like in the 90s and 2000s, that like we weren't sharing and that we should be broken up in Mount Lebanon or something, like, I mean, because the agents would talk and you would do the deals with the people you're comfortable with, and the buyers would want that. That culture exists. How does technology change that culture? We realized we had things like the hot list, which might be for an agent a pain because you have to put something in there and then it gets sent. And then we had Real Scout and you had your clients, and every agent has their own IDX with their own clients and people can register. So everybody has these buyers. Well, when we launched Find It First, one of the things that was important for us to do as a company was to make sure at a single point it integrated. So what happens that if Michelle has buyers that she's got lined up on Real Scout, and Kim gets a listing, even though Kim's on the west side versus east side, we don't differentiate it by geography. When Kim gets a listing, if she put it in Find It First, and Michelle had a buyer who was looking in Rocky River, Michelle's buyer doesn't just get the feed on Real Scout, but they get a link that, hey, this is Find It First. This is new. You can't find this on Zillow, Realtor.com, another agent's website. But it's shared internally through Howard Hanna agents to protect the Hanna agent side. It also, there are consumers who go to howardhanna.com and just click on they want the Find It First leads because the market is so tight. They want to know about the real-time listings as they come on board. And so they sign up. So they're brand new customers that aren't affiliated with any agent, or maybe they are, but they have no fiduciary to that agent. That agent doesn't have a buyer's agency contract, and they're calling. We've told agents and other companies who are like, this doesn't seem fair. I talked to a top agent at another company. I said, then signed up for Find It First feeds, because we'll still honor you a commission if you have the buyer. We're not trying to take away but we're trying to take away from it being on Zillow and Realtor and other places for a period of time to give us some control in the market. So it's all integrated that way. Actually, if you put it in Find It First, it automatically goes to the hot list. So you don't have to put into 2 times. It's just, and how do you get it there? You go into the back end of the howardhanna.com admin and you type in some fields and it feeds. And
Hey, Hoby.
your admins will help you do it for you. And your managers, you have to ask. And if an admin doesn't, then you call me and let me know. So Kate, you were going to say something.
I was just going to remind everyone that most admins know how to do this. I think Michelle had mentioned that, she was nervous. She just handed it to her admin. Also, after all of Hoby's town halls, there's always a follow-up that includes the webinar. I have a playlist on Find It First tech tips, and it's in there. There's also like Instagram gifts, which was like super fun for the managers meeting in Ohio. There's a lot of different options, and we can share that as well if you've got questions on how to do it. It's just very easy. It's very easy.
Yeah, and because of the rules of the MLS, and then I'm going to go to Teresa, because of the rules of the MLS, every MLS, every multiple listing service, some places don't even call it an MLS. They have different rules. The NAR gave mandates of rules and some have deviated. So like in Ohio, you have 1 business day from the time you publicly market, okay? Publicly market means that to the general public, they can now look at something. You have 1 business day. That's where you've heard this Find It First Friday, which is list on a Friday. Most multiple listing services are 1 business day, where we have some that are 24 hours, which we're talking to because if you list a house on Friday and you want your admin to put it in on Saturday, whether your team or the office does that for you, they don't work on Saturday. So that 24 hours doesn't make sense, quite honestly, in my mind, and I think is a pain. But if you do this process and you follow the lead, you can do that. You can have an open house on Sunday with it just being in howardhanna.com and on Find It First. And then as long as it goes in on Monday and you're not violating, it's not a pocket listing, it's not a violation, you're within the framework of the rules that they've established, okay? And some of you might say, oh no, I like to let all my friends in the whole model list know it's there. But remember, when you do that, some of those agents that are your friends may have systems that are better at responding to those leads than you are. And that's fine too. So I just want to give that it's a totally integrated piece. And the last thing I'd say is that I was going on a listing today in this tight market where sellers want the most amount of money. I would start with sitting on the appointment and say, well, let me show you what we have a tool called Buy Side in our website. And I can show you right here, all the buyers that are working with Howard Hanna agents. Here's how many buyers are working with Howard Hanna agents today, including me. And the minute you say, even I would sit there and say, hey, let me put this house that it's listed and I can reverse prospect all these people. All those people should be signed up for Find It First. So from the beginning, I'm able to say, you could try to sell your house on your own, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, but you don't know who the buyers are. You don't know where they are. I do. I might not know Teresa's buyer's name, but I can reverse prospect back to Teresa. And if Teresa has her people on Find It First, if Teresa's busy, they're going to find out about it in real time. They're going to call Teresa and say, I want to see this house. And it's going to create a greater degree of urgency amongst our fellow Hanna agents. So Teresa, who's a great marketer, by the way, and that has that in her background. So Teresa, Find It First or coming soon or creating urgency around your listings as part of your marketing strategy. I know you do a lot of that. What would you share with the group?
I would also want to remind, Find It First is very helpful to us as agents so we can cultivate leads and we can capture those valuable buyers right now. But I really had a lot to tell my sellers to make them happy about wanting this program on their house. It also made my buyers very happy because my buyers knew that they had the exclusive. Like what you were saying, it automatically goes into the Real Scout. They get that announcement that says exclusive. And I could call them, I could follow up, I could use my Hannah app and I could text it over to them. See this before it goes to the MLS and goes on all the other public websites. So my buyers were really happy that I was giving them that find it first opportunity. And I had several coming by and several calling me. But when I was sitting at my listing appointment for my seller, it was just good news after good news after good news when I was talking to them about find it first. I had already presented buy side. I had shown them the report that I printed, how many buyers we had, and we talked about how fast these houses were selling. I was fortunate that I had a house in that prime market in that $200,000 to $300,000 range that I knew was going to go really quickly. That actually made my sellers nervous. Like they didn't want all these people coming through their house. They knew once it was on the market, we were looking at having 15 showings a day, 18 showings a day. It was going to be crazy. And that wasn't always comfortable for them. We knew we could sell it. We knew it was a very sellable property, but they didn't need the masses of people coming in. They were still worried about who was going to lock the doors after each showing. They were still worried about, are the lights going to be turned off on the last showing? So having control of knowing who is going to come in and knowing that that was kind of all running through me on my phone, talking about scheduling those Friday showings, Saturday showings. I had the Sunday open house. So knowing that I had control of it during the find it first period was comfortable to them. They liked that a lot. I certainly did reiterate that those percentages that you shared, Hoby, that if we have deals outside of our brokerage, those are the most likely to fall apart during the inspection period. The house I had listed was built in the 70s. It was a bit older. There's things we have to expect coming up on inspection. So talking about keeping the deal together was also really important when I said we could roll it out to Howard Hanna. I have better success working with my Howard Hanna counterparts and all of my associates on things like this with these older houses. They felt that was a very good benefit for them too. And they asked me about coming soon. They see these coming soons because my sellers are also buyers. So they see what you can show, what you can get into, and what you can't get into for certain dates. And they find that to be frustrating a lot of the time. So find it first means we can show the property. So they want now that we're under contract and multiple offers, with a higher level of control, fewer days that they even had to keep their doors open to people, they want to look at houses and find it first for their next home because they could see that they're looking at exclusives. When they're ready to put their deal together, they're going to feel like they don't have to be rushed or pressured because they have this nice period to reflect on what they saw, decide how they feel about it and what fits for their family. And I feel it was a win-win for my buyers. It was a win-win for my sellers. And it was just a lot of good news for me to share about this Howard Hanna program in particular. And it did integrate with buy side.
That's great. Thanks, Teresa. Kim, so I know you, like Michelle, were one that maybe wasn't using Find It First as a regular basis, you're so busy trying to figure out how you add some things at some different times. So what would you share to add to what others have said?
I think it goes back to we need to become the gatekeepers for our sellers again, instead of letting them out to the wolves, with everyone in every company. So as much as we control the information and get, like Teresa said, information to the potential buyers. So they're not hearing, let's just say from a Redfin agent who's shown up, who's never been to Rocky River, never been to the home, and she's at the home looking for Bob because she met Bob online. Are you Bob? Are you Bob? She doesn't even know the client, and that is our lead. And we need to be able to capture and tell them about the home and give them educated information. The Howard Hanna agents are, we're lucky that we have the education behind us. And there's so many untrained agents out there. So as much as we can keep it within our network, I think that the competition is very threatened by this. And so as a result, we do have a target on our back. And all the time they're trying to say, oh, she just sells it herself, or within Howard Hanna, their office just sells it. And they're trying to find a negative spin on that. It's how we can spin it. to show the benefit. People want to be VIPs and they want to feel special and they want to get into something first. They want what they can't have. So anytime you can get them into something or tell them about something before it's in the MLS, they feel special. I better act on it before the open house. I better act on it before it goes in the MLS. This is super special that I have this opportunity, because once it goes in the MLS, like today we had one that went in at 9 o'clock or 8:53, and at 11 a.m. there's all these random agents who I've never heard of who are setting up showings. But you know, even our goal is the timeline is perfect when you can do a Find It First Friday. If you can put it in on a Friday and just pause the rollout and have a structure and a plan, and then do an open house on Sunday. You know, we just did that on a listing, and we had, you know, we still let other agents come through, you know, within our company, of course, but with other companies. But, you know, if we just tier it accordingly and then go in public on Monday, people feel special, as opposed to finding out something at noon and panicking and having to, you know, clear their work schedule and leave work early to go show, as opposed to, hey, you're going to get to see this Friday, you know, before it goes, you know, into the masses. And the seller likes it too, because there is a plan and there's a structure, and we have the reins and we are the gatekeeper for them, instead of just letting it get crazy, you know. And they still, our goal is to get them the most amount of money in the quickest amount of time, and to bring them quality buyers who are pre-approved, who have met with us before. You know, this is not, you know, an internet lead that we've actually, you know, made sure we're pre-approved and getting through the process, instead of just meeting a random at a house and letting them come through and then writing an offer that has terrible terms and not knowing anything about seeing the process through. So I think, you know, that's the biggest thing. And yes, Fridays are the ideal day to do it, but not everyone has the timeline for that. You know, we listed one, you could put it yesterday on Find It First, and it's going in the MLS today, you know, so even just that one day will help. We do still, as Hoby mentioned, you know, announce things at our Tuesday meetings within the Rocky River office, and we have pictures that come up and say, hey, I'm listing this soon. And, you know, maybe it's not on tour because we're not touring as much, but let's share it within our office whenever we can, if we have a picture of it, or if we can just share within our network. But the hot list is a big thing, and the Find It First with going live, so that we can, you know, and do the social media and everything, so that we are the gatekeepers for our, you know, and we have a control and a plan, because it is a bit of a chess match right now with matching up buyers and sellers. And we still want to get the most amount of money for our sellers, and we're not just doing it to hoard leads, we're doing it to get a clean deal and the best for the seller as well.
Yep. Kim, that's fantastic. Alicia, sort of this first round of this question, and then we'll see some questions maybe to answer, but so Alicia runs a region of multiple offices in different areas. So Alicia, sort of similar to what we heard from Gwen, but from a regional perspective, you know, you get to see different offices that are embracing things, maybe others that aren't, whatever that communication comes from. So what would you lend to what others have said around this concept of Find It First, or even where the devil's advocate of agents has been and how you've addressed that in your market?
Yeah, so I think the first thing you have to really focus on is educating the seller about the pluses for it, because they may hear from cooperating brokers, if they're, you know, interviewing, what the perceived negatives are. Here's the biggest devil's advocate comeback to why don't you put it out to the whole market. We are putting it out to the best agents, and not just Howard Hanna agents, but a good agent knows that we have this program. They can go on to our public facing site, sign up for Find It First, and if they have a real buyer, bring that buyer through. I don't think there's any Howard Hanna agent that would say, no, you can't bring that buyer through. What we're trying to get away from is that agent from Redfin or XYZ that is just scraping leads from either Zillow or some other source, knowing nothing about the property, bringing the buyer through, writing an offer. God forbid that offer get accepted. Those agents don't tend to counsel their buyers correctly. And the worst thing you could do is get a seller into a transaction that falls apart. How many of you, I'm sure, have received mutual releases in an email without ever knowing why, without even having a conversation with the cooperating agent? I mean, they just give up because they have no skill, no care about keeping a deal together. Within Howard Hanna, and explaining this to a seller, we have a framework of support from the manager to the regional to the inner office referrals to outside offices within our company where we can work to keep a transaction together. And the other thing that we can do that the agent that I recommended for this wanted to be on and talk about, Julie Crowley from Mentor, she listed a house in a very hot neighborhood in Newell Creek, right on Center Road in Mentor. A ranch built in 2007, 1,932 square feet, you know, perfect, everything everyone wants for 360. She did it last Friday, signed it up on Friday, put it into Find It First, put it out to all her cooperating agents within the company, the other offices within Howard Hanna, had it sold on Saturday, but still did the open house. Why? Two reasons. One, you want backup buyers. You don't want that house to ever come out of contingent status, and a backup buyer guarantees that. Because what we see is when they do go back on market, they're stale. People want to know why, what happened. That also holds buyer number one's feet to the fire from getting that buyer remorse. But I think also as agents, we do want to create spin-off business. When I was an agent, if I didn't have open houses, I would not have been half as successful. That's where I created my spin-off business. Julie was able to secure 4 different buyers from that open house and now is scavenging through the Newell Creek development, talking to the neighbors, the 5, 5, 10, saying how hot the market is. 360 is the number, and they're getting more than 360. You would never expect to get on a 1,932 square foot house, except in this market. So it's a win for everybody. The seller knows that the open house gives them the potential for backup buyers, which we have, so that if buyer number one wants to feel buyer's remorse, their feet are held to the fire, but we also don't have to go back inactive. We stay in contingent. Number 2, we find good clients from these open houses and we start working with them. And number 3, we can now work that neighborhood to get more listings for ourselves. So it's just a win-win. The biggest challenge we have is agents feeling it's, I heard one of you say, I think it was Michelle, one more step, but that's what our fee is for, right? Our fee is more than discount brokers. We can't be like the discount brokers. We have to show that level of marketing that is above and beyond. And there's a 4-step Find It First process, whether it's the savvy marketer, the Uber marketer. I mean, Leah Gibbons created it. It's amazing, where you can justify an 8% fee, I would argue, if you do it right.
Well, see, but I think that's a real key, is that when we historically, when we have a real tight marketplace of inventory, that's the challenge, is that a lot of times we'll see other brokers, sometimes people even with Howard Hanna, they'll race to the bottom on their commission split. They'll be like, oh, this house will sell quickly. There's a lot of interest. And so what happens is they start to erode the commission rate that they charge because they figure they'll sell it quickly. And in my opinion, the reason that happens is because, and I know nobody on this call does this, but because sometimes agents don't, Alicia hit it, don't take the time to talk about a marketing strategy. Don't put value in themselves and through what the company can do to create the best environment. And the best environment, especially today in today's society, is a person wants the highest and best price you're going to achieve for them, but they want it to sell in the quickest amount of time. I mean, I can tell you, if I put my house on the market, my wife would want it sold tomorrow, because with 3 kids at home and a daughter coming home from college and having to have the house clean and in perfect showing condition and the staging of it and everything else. And let's face it, there's, our business is for the consumer is highly complex and done really infrequently. And they don't want to have people traipsing through their house and have multiple showings and multiple open houses and be out on a Sunday, and they don't. And we have this great technology power that if we're on a listing appointment and say to the consumer, here's why I'm going to get your house sold for the greatest value in the quickest amount of time, because I do have, oh, by the way, I have buy side, which tells me where the buyers are and then I'm targeting to them. Oh, by the way, I'm just not shotgunning this thing and putting it out to anybody, any looky-loo, any person who thinks they can buy the house, any stranger. I'm going to the targeted Find It First model. It's sort of taking control back, which a couple of you said. I'm taking the controlled Find It First model. I'm directing to buyers that are already working with our agents, buyers who we know are looking and want that impulse in the immediate market. I'm controlling the staged rollout of things. I'm doing things internally to promote excitement. I will come in and put it out for every other real estate agent to find, but I don't have to do it in the first 24 hours because the other thing is I want to make sure that I get your pictures. Like literally this Find It First Friday, in my perfect world, we would only bring houses on the market on Friday. Like literally, if you had a listing appointment on a Monday, you would take the week to get your photography done, to get the rooms measured, to say to the seller, plant the new flowers in the front yard. Because think about all that it takes to make that first impression. Then come on Friday and build my momentum into the weekend. And if that stage momentum didn't work, by the time it takes us to put a post sign up, it won't be up till Monday or Tuesday anyhow. So you get that on there, then you get the model list, you get the waves of marketing and merchandising to get a product sold. But instead, we're the only industry in the world that says, oh, I just listed your house. I better put it in the model list so everybody knows it's for sale. And I don't even have good photos to put into the model list. So I'm going to get fined because I don't have a good front photo. Or it's a photo I wanted to take today because it's sunny and I've got one with like 12 inches of snow on the ground. I mean, it's mind numbing to me that we don't take greater control and then show the value of why you're paying me more. I mean, sometimes I think in this market, they should pay us 10% if we get it sold in 36 hours because there's convenience to the consumer. So I wrote down that this control, but I don't know if it's control. It's more of like having a marketing strategy and referencing that, as opposed to what I say most of our competitors do is put a sign in the ground, place it in the MLS, put it on Zillow, and pray that somebody from Howard Hanna brings a good qualified buyer because they know that the deal will stay together. And we can't market ourselves that way anymore. We can't get to the pray concept. And because if not, a seller will say, well, why do I need you? You know what? You just gave me the price. Thanks for telling me, Alicia, that I can get 360 or 370 for my house. Hey, I might come a little bit below that without paying you a commission, put a little orange sign in my front yard, and somebody's going to show up and buy my house. So we have to think differently as in today's market and value our marketing. And I think it's going to get worse, by the way, that, you know, the inventory's tight and everybody's hoping, I hope the inventory jumps, but I was on a call this week with a national group of brokers. They think the actual inventory is going to get tighter this summer, and it's all going to come down to how you're going to market the house. And if it's just put it in the MLS and hope that another agent sells it, the general feeling is that it will lose, not to agents. We will erode our own industry and our own business, and we'll wake up in 2 years and our value will be 2%. I mean, that was the fear of two big brokers across the country that are in markets like Miami, Florida, and Southern California, saying they're worried we're on a race to the bottom because agents won't respect marketing. They won't put out like, you know, here's what I do to get your house sold. Here's all I spend. And so we have to prevent that. So Kim, I know, is a huge proponent of maintaining the sanctity of her commission split and does a lot of marketing. So Kim, what do you have to say about what I just mentioned about that marketing aspect and protecting the commission rate?
Yeah. So this just came up the other day when someone said, well, if it sells this weekend, you know, do I get a discount? You know, and I said, actually the opposite. I said, you know, if anything, if I'm getting you top dollar, so if we're getting multiple offers in a weekend and getting you top dollar and exceeding your expectations, you know, if anything, a bonus could be due. You know, if our goal is to sell for listing at $599 and I get you $625, why would I got you above and made it a clean, simple process for you. You know, and do we want to hold hands for the next 6 months and cross fingers and just put it in the MLS and hope it sells? Or do we want to go with our rollout and our structured tiered marketing plan to show, you know, okay, we're going to do social media and our Find It First, and we're going to go in the MLS, you know, and even if we can stagger our Zillow, our, you know, internet lead, or internet, you know, with all the affiliates, if we can postpone that a little bit too, just to kind of make it feel special, so that the buyers have a VIP service and feel that your home is something that they better act on soon before it goes to the masses. So I think that, you know, there's no way, you know, I'm not willing to cut the commission, and it's not something our office really, I'm proud of the fact that we hold the line on that and hold our value, because anyone can put something in the MLS. But that's not gonna, you know, all the people doing the coming soon right now, I don't see that value. I know it's different regionally, but in Northeast Ohio, you could put it in coming soon and say, we're gonna start showings on, you know, the 17th, you can book them now, and then you go to book, and the 17th and 18th, you can't even get in because everyone's booked them already for next week. And it's random realtor from their basement, brokerage, and it's not special. And it's not really doing anything for anyone, there's no plan there. It's just, so anything we can do to structure and have a plan and keep it so that there's quality deals that we can put together, that we can trust the financing and the pre-approval and the agent to see through inspections and not have people get cold feet because they won and now they're, worried why they won, and, just making sure there's an educated person on the other side and have confidence that, the whole package can be seen through. So I think if anything, we go the other way. If I can get you this much, if I can get you this, this huge number, you want me to discount the commission? That's not, something that we're willing to do. And that's how we negotiate for you as well. We're not going to sell you short. We're not going to start this process now, before we've even started cheapening our brand either.
Yeah, and I would add that on that coming soon, Kate may know the answer. I approved it 2 weeks ago, but in the markets where we have coming soon, what we're now adding the true coming soon, which the coming soon means you can't do any showing of it. You're setting a date, like you're listing today, you need to get the house ready, so you're putting it on, is coming soon, that it's coming on March 25th. Okay. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to add in the Find It First feed that there's Find It First coming soons. In that sense, they can know it's coming, and it'll say it cannot be shown until March 25th or whatever. So for the multiple listing services that allow coming soon, we're starting to add that feed into so you could actually do like coming soon, have the date, then the date before the coming soon be in Find It First. So so it's a way to add more to that consumer, or as maybe Teresa said before, say to your buyer, hey, you look at this, the seller who's going to be a next buyer, I'm going to register you for Find It First as well. So you see the new listings, you see the coming soons, you see the exclusives. So we can have levels in there of internally marketing and knowing what's for sale. So Kate, you had some questions. I'll let you ask of the group because I've talked too much. I'm getting, my family keeps emailing me saying, let everybody else talk. You're talking too much. So
I was just going
business sometimes.
to mention, so everyone is asking about this pamphlet that I had just talked about in the chat. There's a pamphlet that just says benefits for buyer, for seller, and for agent. It will go in the follow-up. So the follow-up email is always from education at Howard Hanna, and it's going to have everything that we've talked about on this platform. So the one question that I was going to bring up with this group is, so how do you market the Find It First? I think a lot of people, Gwen talked about the tiered marketing structure. How did you kind of position this to your seller as a marketing piece? And then I know that a lot of people were using social media and boosting it at a very inexpensive price. So I was hoping that maybe we could even share some of those examples with the people on the site or on the webinar so that they can really see one kind of in real life. So just because I had spoken to Teresa about this, Teresa, I'm just going to have you start.
Oh, talking about.
Yeah. So if you just want to talk about how did you position this as to your seller, and how did you market it? How did you start your Find It First tiered marketing?
Yeah. So the first thing that I really did is we took our photos early. So I had all of my videos. I had all of my virtual tours that I could put on the Find It First when I put it on Friday. So I had time to prep for that. The push-in sign, I used the Find It First orange signs. I used the directional that said open Sunday. And I put that in right away on Friday. I also learned, because I've only done one of these most recently. I did, 3 or 4 before, but I want to get even better at it because I think there's going to be great opportunity to do a VIP reception at the house Thursday night. If I'm going to announce it to my office Tuesday, I think on a Thursday night, I'm going to be able to have already done my 5-5-10s. I'm already going to be talking to my buyers who are looking for this kind of criteria. And I want to invite all of my office to bring their people through too. So I want to get back to that. I used to do that when I was first an agent. I was doing neighborhood VIPs, wine and cheeses, come a half an hour, 45 minutes before the open house. I think I can do these on Thursday night now and kind of do the rollout so that Friday morning, now we're booking private showings and doing that. So the signage helped a great deal. And I know then I like social media. I do a lot on social media. So I prepared a little slideshow about my house. I said, thank you to Howard Hanna for this Find It First program. I'm able to bring you this house over the weekend. Call me for your private showing. Come Sunday for my open house. And on that, there you go. On that site right there, I had learned how to add that send message button to me. I got 11 separate buyers hitting that button, talking to me about, hey, this house. And they even said, look, I'm working with another agent, but they can't find this anywhere. Can you show it to me? Could you tell me more about this? When can I come and see it? I had 11 separate conversations going on in about 24 hours after posting this. And I do this kind of Facebook stuff all the time. I never had conversations like this. I never had 11 people hitting me up after one post like I did right here. So I knew I was onto something really big. And I was very, very excited about the follow-up here too. So this was also on Instagram. I did boost it, so it went on both places. I believe I also put it on LinkedIn. I like to use LinkedIn a lot. I get a lot of followers, but they all want to sell me something mostly. But Facebook seems to be the right place to do that with the post and the boost. I also e-blasted it out, and I did all those other things that we should be doing all the time. But I think adding that Thursday component, talking to the neighbors, and of course, Leah Gibbons is such a resource and such a lovely marketing minded person as well. She's really loading me up. So the next time I do this, I'm going to start to have the neighbor introduction. I'm going to bring the buy side reports. I'll bring trend graphics of what's going on in their zip code. I'll talk about how I can market their houses next. And I'm going to be able to really show the neighbors the value of why was this so rock star? Why did this go above asking in multiples so much faster? Even, I've sold on this street a couple of times, or in this neighborhood. I think it's my third sale in 6 months, but I'm getting to know the area so much better that I know I can even take my marketing to the next level when I really communicate with the neighborhood of what's going on there. So.
Teresa, I just want everyone to know a few things before I'm going to go to Michelle next. I think she has some marketing strategies. Is whenever you're boosting a post, make sure that you do fill out the call to action. This is the lead capture form. So you certainly want to make sure that you have one of these filled out, and that we do have the Howard Hanna hashtag find it first. So you could tell buyers if they want to find other find it first properties, they can just search that hashtag and follow it on Instagram, and they would see all of the Howard Hanna find it first.
Oh, one thing before you, I also need to get better at this of how to promote my open house. You could go into open house admin. You can put your find it first open house on the open house admin too, so that goes out. I don't think a lot of people realize that. They're using their e-blast, they're using their social media to talk about the open house, but certainly use the open house admin too, because then it's going to be listed everywhere for your open on Sunday.
Awesome. Thanks, Teresa. Michelle, what are some marketing, how did you position this to your seller, and what marketing pieces did you do?
Oh, when I'm in the listing appointment, the number one thing I always say is Howard Hanna is dominating the market, especially in the Chagrin Falls area, Hunting Valley area, Upper Pike area. And I always explain to them about SEO. And a lot of the sellers they don't understand what is SEO, a search engine optimization. Howard Hanna spends a fortune on driving traffic to the Howard Hanna website. And so I think that is an amazing tool to let the sellers understand why you want to use Howard Hanna. You don't see that on Co-Brokes. I know I'm not allowed to say the name, but you don't see that kind of investment. And of course, now we have the TV ads investment. I think the other thing that I want to say is that, like Teresa, I do use Facebook. I totally believe it. I spend a fortune on marketing on social media, not only on Facebook, but, and I drive traffic to myself. I do blogging. I want to say, what's the best restaurants in Cleveland? Now, do I write that blog? No, I have a professional write the blog. But anything that I can drive traffic to Howard Hanna, to my website, it's going to be about capturing the reader, even when they least expect it. They're not even looking for a house, but they're Googling, what's the best hiking trails in Cleveland? Well, all of a sudden, my blog shows up least expected, Bing, and it drives to the website for my sellers so they can see the houses that are for sale. And that helps my my sellers get it done sooner.
Yeah, Michelle, that's a great idea. You know, the other thing I want to point out, I definitely believe in social media, but for agents out there that might not have done it, you can start fairly inexpensive. I mean, to boost a post, and I think I'm going to have Alicia talk after Kim here, just how inexpensive it can be to get people to go to your site, to go to howardhanna.com. I mean, you could do $5 for a radius of hundreds of people. So
I also actually change it up on the Facebook social media. I may spend $10. I may spend $50. I also change the zip codes or my target audience. And I definitely think that that's helped my business.
that's great. Thank you so much, Michelle. Kim, do you want me to repeat the question, or you know where
Oh,
we're
yeah,
going?
maybe.
So-
Yes, sir.
Just how do you position this to a seller? How do you explain that tiered marketing? You know, if you're saying, I'm not going to put you in the MLS right away, this is what I'm doing, you know, how do you position that marketing, and what did you do?
I think that they turn to me for what, you know, we're the experts. So they're like, you tell us what we need to do, you know. And I think, again, it's about like being in the driver's seat and taking the reins and telling them we have a plan and here's how it's going to roll out. Even if we put the, you know, I hate the word coming soon, but if we put something on our social media, you know, about like the Find a First, or that we're doing something that's pre-MLS, you know, just for even 24 hours, or ideally, you know, as Hoby mentioned, the weekend, whenever we can roll it out that way. People, we want to become the gatekeeper again. So then they have to contact me for more information instead of, you know, we are the ones with the information. So that, you know, kind of going before the internet was out there and people had to contact the agent for information on the home. So anything we can do so that we can be the ones who are giving them the correct information on the home, and, you know, sharing the details and how this is different than anything else, you know, how the home, the benefits the home has, so that they want people to interact with me because I know their home better than anyone else. And then, you know, we do share it within our office and within, you know, the hot list. You know, we do, we're big into social media. Yes, Facebook is wonderful, but kind of people think that is for older people. And you know, we got to go Instagram for the younger crowd. You know, if you just put a picture of, you know, new listing coming up in Rocky River Beach Cliff 1, and a picture of like one room, and people are like, where is that? I need to see it. I have to see it, you know. And they're looking, their search ranges used to be like, look from 400 to 500. Now they're looking 200 to 700, because they're like, well, there's only 60 listings in the community, whether you're at 100,000 or 3 million. So I'm going to look at everything. So let us be in control of information that's out there to protect the seller, to protect, you know, and to do the best for the transaction that we can. So I think, you know, they look to us to go, oh, wow, you know, because when people see this is coming up in this neighborhood, just a little snippet so that you can be the gatekeeper to then tell them about the rest of the home before it's all out there, because then all the pictures are out there and all the information's out there, but anything we can do to help guide that transaction.
Well, so as we're sitting here, sort of, my phone, I have a Real Scout account. It was like a test account that when we first launched with Real Scout, and it's through Dan Riley. He looks like he's my agent. So he set it up, and so as I'm sitting here, I get an email that says, be the first to see this home. You've got exclusive access. As a Howard Hanna agent, Dan Riley has access to Howard Hanna Find It First listings that haven't hit the market yet. Here's one you may be interested. And it gives me this brand new listing on Mountain River Drive in Moreland Hills for $1 million. You know, this is, if Dan was an actual agent, working agent, and I was interested in this house, Dan now is getting an instant lead off of I don't know whose listing this is. It's another Howard Hanna agent listing in Moreland Hills, which is a really tight market, you know, $1 million house in Moreland Hills. This thing will fly. But think about the buyer side. If more listing agents are using that, and there's a loyalty sense of the buyer, you know, I've got that. And then it says view all the exclusives, and I press a button and it lists everything that's exclusive right now and Find It First. In Cleveland, there are 46 well, not even just in Cleveland. We have 46 exclusive listings in Find It First right now. We've got one in Ithaca, New York for $270, one in Buffalo for $229.9, a whole bunch in Pittsburgh and in Cleveland, a couple in Michigan. So I can look in just my search area, or I can search by just the whole marketplace, which which becomes an incredible tool. Even if you had like an investor buyer, it would be an incredible tool that they'd have instant access to that before it hits all the other places they're searching, and then shows greater value of why they should work with you. I mean, I would even add that in today's market, with the tightness of buyers, getting exclusive buyer agency contracts signed, like actually listing the buyer and saying, one of the reasons you should be listed with me is because I have Find It First, and I can get you those properties in real time as they come on, not you searching them all to list for them, but just setting them up so they come out. Especially if more and more of our listing agents use Find It First, the power could be huge. The amount of business that we could do could be huge. So, all right. So sorry, Kate, I'll go back to you. Just sort
No,
of
it's fine. I was just going to mention, I wanted Alicia to share how Julie Crowley had done her marketing, and then Gwen. And then for those of you who are willing to stay on, I'm just going to show everyone how you can find the Howard Hanna images for your Instagram, since we had the first 3 people mention that in their strategy. I feel like it would be fun, and it did seem to be a very exciting part of our manager meeting for the Midwest. So I will show everyone if you're willing to stay on. Alicia, go ahead with marketing.
Julie sent out e-cards, first of all, and most importantly to her sphere, to everybody in her closed buyer, closed seller, everyone she's working with, saying it was a Find It First exclusive open house coming. She posted it on her social media page and to the Willoughby office page. We boosted the post for $5, and she is still receiving inquiries on it. The reach that post got, because they couldn't find it anywhere else from Friday to Monday. So the reach that post got, between sending them to the website howardhanna.com to see it on Find It First, knowing it was coming as an open house that Sunday, and also she worked the 5510. It was a beautiful weekend, and she, it's hard to get phone numbers, it's hard to get email addresses, but she worked the neighborhood, walked around to the 5510 and just said, hey, this house is on the market, having it open Sunday, can't find it anywhere else. You're not going to see it on any other website except howardhanna.com. She had neighbors. I mean, she was overwhelmed with activity. And again, she, from that open house and that promotion of Find It First, has received leads and is now working with clients that she would not have got if she threw it in the MLS, did sign in the yard, let the barrage of had it syndicated, have the barrage of all these crazy agents that are picking up buyers that they don't even know the market. She would have had nothing. And who knows if the deals they would have accepted wouldn't have been falling through right now. The deal they have is solid, and they have a good solid backup, all Howard Hanna.
Gwen, you want to finish us off here?
Yeah, a couple things. One of the things I like about Find It First is that it's exclusive to us, which means every agent can set up a search for themselves in Real Scout, have it sent to themselves so that they get notified when there's a Find It First listing in their market area. So I think sometimes the worst thing is when someone else tells you about something happening, right? And that you didn't already know about it. So that's a great way to get out in front of it, is to get the alert sent to you so you know when there's something coming on the market. You'll also get something because you've got your client set up in Real Scout. So one little tip to take away is you'll know when the Find It First are coming on when you have a search set up to come back to you. The other thing I like about Find It First, every part of this business is marketing and negotiating. So if you have a seller who's signed up for Find It First, is on there, that says a lot of things about your seller, but it also says a lot of things about you as an agent. Your name is out there, you've got your act together, you know how to run a transaction, you know that this seller is going to, be engaged. If someone's on Find It First, it might indicate other things. They probably got their septic checked already. They probably have their point of sale already completed. They've at least cleaned out their closets. They're ready to go. You've got control of the transaction. So even from the beginning of a posting of Find It First, you're already negotiating from a place of strength. You have the control of the conversation, who's coming, who's going, and it's a great way to start a listing. And everybody wants to write a strong offer when they know that there's other people behind them. So it's a great way to remember that you're not just marketing that house, you're marketing yourself. And how great is it that you can brag about the fact that you've sold this house, that you sold it for top dollar, and it's not just about selling that house, you're selling yourself too.
Thanks, Gwen. And while I'm getting my phone hooked up, Michelle was going to mention something about she experienced this past weekend with her Find It First. So Michelle, go ahead.
So we got a lot of calls, obviously, from the Howard Hanna Find It First. And I also got a few calls that I was not expecting from co-broke agents. And I actually was texting to Kim, sorry, Kim, I'm looking to Gwen. Hey, this is how I'm going to handle this, which is to say, of course you can show it. But it's interesting to me, their clients are connected with our website. So their clients knew about it before their own agent did. And so I think that how to handle the co-brokes, the response where they don't feel like, oh, the big bad Howard Hanna is again doing things illegal. I'm just educating them because, of course, this is my first time, but I educated them. We're not illegal. It is listed on Friday. We're putting it in on Monday. But what I also want to talk about that Hoby mentioned, I like this idea, is not putting it into, Hoby, it was not allowing Zillow to see it, even though we're in the MLS. There's a button there. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, it doesn't apply to every model list. It's an Ohio model list thing. I'm not sure. I don't know the other model list well enough, but there is a way for you to and we'll send it out to everybody because I don't have enough. Maybe somebody else can chime in. But there's a way to say that you don't want a listing syndicated or something to that effect for a period of time. Kim, do you know, or Gwen, or anybody else wants to jump in?
Yeah, you can on the MLS form, there's a box to check off in Northeast Ohio that to be an internet listing, which means Zillow, Realtor.com, all the syndicated sites. And so you can not do that initially, but then you can check the box anytime you want. You could check it after 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, because not everyone wants, with COVID or otherwise, like 1,000 people in their home. So if we just say that's part of the plan, we're going to do, whether it's Find It First and then the MLS, which the MLS is, it's still in there and other agents can see it, but we're not going to go so that all the Zillows and, all those others, so that we can still be the gatekeeper. Some people already enjoy that process as well with us being, in charge there. It just depends on the seller, but it's all the way we frame it to them, that we don't need to be on there, that we can have control. And we can still let other agents in with other companies, but it just helps us share information on the home instead of, just showing agents who don't even, it's part of the baton of the relay of the Redfin, where there's someone who shows it, who's never even been in the house, who's never met the buyer, who then passes the baton to the next person and the next person, and the next person. And it's just domino effect of terrible service there.
I like the idea because we get the leads, and I'm going to start doing it because we get the leads before it goes on Zillow, right? Because it's still on Howard Hanna website, but not on the Zillow website.
Right. Well, there's a couple questions from some other markets, so I don't want anybody to. We'll get some instructions out and look at different MLSs. What the yes or whatever they call it now MLS is, made it part of a pushback was when you have that client who says, "Well, I don't want my house everywhere. I want you to sell my house." So the multiple listing service in Northeast Ohio, as a concession, said you can make it a non-internet listing, which means it's in the multiple listing system as a B2B so that other agents know it's for sale and what the cooperating commission rate would be. We can put it on howardhanna.com, but it doesn't appear. You can't just pick Zillow and you can't just pick Realtor. It goes everywhere, including other real estate agents' websites. So it wouldn't be even a Howard Hanna IDX agent website feed or other things when you select that for a period of time. So you could say, I don't want it there for a week. I don't want it there for 2 weeks. So in Ohio, we'll make sure that Chris Burdick gets that out to everybody. I know she's listening in the other room. That gets out so we understand that, so it's not confusion. And then we'll look into other markets sort of to what a rule is. Typically, it's an all or nothing. You can't just pick a certain broker or a certain company that you don't participate. The one thing I want to say before I conclude, and we're sort of up against our time, and I really appreciate everybody's time, is that and this is a little bit of me standing on my soapbox to end this thing, is that this real estate industry is crazy right now, and there's If you read anything online, you find out about like all the Wall Street money and stuff that's out there that's fueling different things and models, from iBuyers to new companies to publicly traded stuff, and models where you don't have to have an office, and we have, and everybody claiming they've got the greatest technology. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to tell everybody at Howard Hanna that's listening, you have the technology, the marketing technology. Like, to be honest with you, if I gave you 10 more things, you wouldn't use them. There's so much that's out there. I had somebody last week say, well, hey, this company's got an artificial intelligence that overlays against their CRM that tells them who's ready to buy and sell. I said, yeah, we've had that for 3 years. It's called Moxie Insights. It's as good as anybody else's. It's sort of Big Brother watching. And for I think $2 a client, you can have it in the way, when you wake up in the morning, it'll say, based upon somebody's searches online, where they're spending their money, public records data, they got divorced, who knows what, it pops up and says, hey, call this person. They're probably ready to sell. So that's a whole other training class. If you when you hear, oh, somebody's got this new technology, I can tell you, there is no technology that we don't have that we can't deliver to you, because marketing technology. We, by far, are the most innovative technology company in the country. And I'm not just saying that because I've had other people tell me, but, I guess because we're not brand new and we've been around for a long time and we have staying power, I guess that means we're not as sexy as some of the other brands that are the darlings of Wall Street that lose $300 million a year. We still are trying to make money in this business. And I just think that our agents you guys have to realize any shiny penny that's out there, come talk to us, because we have it. We can enhance it. We can work on fixing it. We can work on making it more streamlined. And so when you see things that you need, let us know. If anything, I sometimes think that we may need a little bit more of some traditional things that we've gotten maybe a little too techy. Some things we could bring back that would help agents that we are working on. So I just give that as a message, because even I read an article the other day about some company that they're bringing out the most innovative thing ever, which is a listing presentation that links to the model list, that's completely digital, that you can give a listing presentation online, and it's going to revolutionize the real estate industry. And I said, well, that's Hanna Presentations. We've had that forever. But I guess, I guess we don't do enough of PR on that. So there's so much there. And so and even this Find It First is innovation. It's taking what we've always done, but using the technology to connect more of our agents and get people there. And Michelle hit it on the board. Never at Howard Hanna, and I mean this, we will never, ever, ever let you, our agents, get in trouble or do anything. My name's on the damn sign, and so is my kid and my grandfather and my father. If you think we're going to do anything that's illegal or to get you in trouble, you're at the wrong company. Our job really is to be innovative and to think about the consumer and think about how we can help you, our agents, sell more real estate and affect the consumer. And everything we do always is, what's the consumer want? And no offense to my Modalist friends and my Board of Realtor friends and the National Association of Realtors, I believe for the last 5 years, they have not thought about the consumer. They've thought about their own selves. They've thought about how much dues they collect. They've thought about their industry and lost the consumer. And that's why, now we've got people like Zillow who are real estate brokers who don't want to have agents like we have here. They want to have agents working in boiler rooms, taking leads and being salaried-based agents. And I can tell you, the panel that's sitting here, if that model works, and I came out and said, hey, all you guys and managers, we now have a new compensation structure for you that's salary-based, I don't think you'd stay with Howard Hanna. And that's not what we want to do. We love the way the model works. We've got to protect the commission, give you tools and programs to succeed. And know that what we're doing is to try to get that consumer to come back to you and to Howard Hanna every year. So so thank you. I just had to get on my soapbox and say that. And Kate, you might have called out my Pittsburgh accent there a little bit.
Oh, I forgot you're on the panelist one. Yeah, so Hoby's saying multi-list, but I always laugh because it is a little yinzery. So I just wanted to point out.
You take the kid out of Pittsburgh, but you can't take Pittsburgh out of the kid.
Yeah, I forgot that you were on that. Sorry, Hoby. Okay, so I just wanted to show a few people something that came up. Here's my phone screen. So the first thing is Hoby had mentioned that email that goes out. This is what he was referring to. This is that exclusive listing, and I can't tell you how many questions I saw today on how people set their clients up for this in Real Scout. It's automatic. We've made it, you don't have to do anything. If it's within their price range, if it's a house that would fit in their criteria, they're already going to get those emails. So this is being sent out on your behalf. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that it's already happening. The other thing I wanted to show you, and this is already recorded, so you'll be able to watch it, but let's say that someone wanted to do a find it first post. So on my Instagram, I'm going to just add a story. I've got a fun little house here. All right, here's just a house that I found. And I just want everyone to know the top little square face up there, you can search Howard Hanna Real Estate. And if anyone knows anything about gifts and millennials, we're like flies to little lights. Like we want to watch what that is. So here's a little find it first. All right. And now I could put a post. I could say something here like, reach out, message me to have access before anyone else. And now you have a post. You can boost this. I can download it. And I can actually make this one of my own, like a post. And so now I have this as an actual post where I could say, okay, someone could be like, well, let's find it first. How does that work? And now you can actually pay $5, boost this in your area, and you're going to get all those leads. It looks fancy. It looks like you've done some nice marketing. And I just wanted to point that these are already available for you from Howard Hanna Marketing on Instagram and on Facebook. And that was just my wow factor to the Midwest managers on Friday. So I figured I would share it with the rest of you all. As everyone asked me, well, how did you do that? So it's already available, and I will send out in the follow-up a Find It First Tech Tip playlist.
Great. So Kate, would you be willing to also, I know we've sent it before, but if you'd be willing to send out to everybody some of the marketing pieces around Find It First, the brochure, just like send it to anybody on the call. And then also let's make sure the managers have it. So managers that are out there listening, this is a great follow-up topic at your sales meetings, at a training class, and we'll make sure you have all the collateral pieces so that you can do that.
Yep, I will get that out this afternoon. It will have everything Find It First included. And I guess, Hoby, that might be it. If you want to finish this off, it looks like a lot of people are saying thank you and they really appreciate it. Someone had said this was one of the most timely and relevant panels that they have seen. So thank you to all of the panelists. It was very well received.
So good luck, happy selling and listing this weekend. It should be, with the weather, should be a great weekend, sort of kick the spring season off. And thank you all so much. And panelists, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. I appreciate it. So.
Thanks for having.
Bye-bye.